Hey man, Todd with Empowered Men Coaching, your career and life coach. Hey, want to talk to you for a minute about fear. There's a lot of guys walking around with a quiet fear under the surface. Even the ones who look strong, successful, put together, you might not call it fear. You might call it stress or pressure, burnout, or just feeling off your game. But I think underneath all of that, there's some fear, and that fear is steering the wheel. And fear is debilitating in a man's life as he's trying to move forward and succeed. So I want to talk about that for a little bit in different areas of where fear can show up. Fear behind your finances. The economy is unpredictable. Things cost more, job market shifts, and men who have been responsible and disciplined, hardworking, you're still finding yourselves asking, hey, am I going to be okay? And this really isn't about money per se. It's more about losing control, about not being able to provide, about slipping behind. But here's the truth. Control doesn't come from certainty. It comes from clarity. You can't control inflation, but you can control what you spend, how you show up, and the direction you choose to move forward. All right? So here's an action for you. Instead of letting fear get the better of you, sit down with a pencil and paper and map out your numbers. Put them out there. So don't let the story in your head dictate what's going on. Get real data so you can make real decisions. The truth is, fear shrinks when you look at the truth instead of assumptions. And what about relationships? Fear in relationships. A lot of men are scared they'll be rejected, misunderstood, dismissed in the relationships. And one of the things that can happen is men stop communicating, right? We choose distance because honesty feels risky, and that fear, it whispers, if you speak up, you're going to make it worse. Can anybody relate to that? But I believe silence is what makes it worse. Connection grows. Connection grows when, you choose courage over comfort. You can't control how your partner's going to respond, but you can control how you show up and show up honestly. So here's an action. Have a real conversation this week. Not small talk, not surface level updates, but say what's actually true for you. Respectfully, cleanly, without trying to manage the outcome. I believe when truth moves, fear loses power. There's another fear that I believe men face, and it's one of losing relevance. Am I still relevant? Am I still capable? Am I still attractive? Do I still have what it takes? And I think this starts showing up, especially in your 40s, 50s, 60s. And the world changes fast. And it's easy, right? It's easy to feel it's outpacing you. I get like that. But relevance isn't about keeping up with the kids and kind of what's new, but it's about alignment. It's about presence. It's about wisdom. It's about owning the season you're in with strength instead of shame. So revisit your purpose. Ask yourself, what impact do I still want to have? This isn't the end. It's just an invitation to lead differently. I often call it the third act, right? It's after college, it's after your first job and pursuing your career and raising your kids. It's just that period that starts happening after that. And then there's another fear. And, this one is that subtle one that can run in your head, be part of an inner critic. It's fear of failing as a man. Masculinity itself has become pretty confusing, I think, for a lot of guys in Western society. Be strong, but not too strong. Be sensitive, but not too soft. Be confident, but don't be arrogant, right? It can create a bit of a freezing up. Feels like whatever you may do, someone's going to tell you it's wrong. But masculinity isn't about performance. It's about presence. It's about integrity. It's about being a man who knows who he is and the place he leads from. So here's an action. Define what masculinity is for yourself. What do you want your strength to stand for? Protection, courage, compassion, discipline, right? Good stuff. Choose your values and then live in them. That is ultimately masculinity as a man walking on this planet, is being aware, clear, and aligned with your values. And there's another fear. And this one, I recognize oftentimes when men reach out for coaching, and it's just the fear of facing yourself, right? It's the fear when the noise stops, when life slows down, when the distractions have ended, you're running. You've been running from yourself, and this realization starts to come in. And maybe it's from pain, maybe it's from regret, maybe it's from shame. Maybe it's just from dreams that never happen, or dreams that you think you don't deserve. And a lot of this just creates busyness in our lives, in a man's life. And so the silence when we're not being distracted and we're alone and we're just with ourselves, that silence makes this fear louder, right? We think it's a truth, that somehow we're deficient. But is that true? I don't think it is. I think that's just being stuck in a false belief. So what's your doorway to freedom? Every man I've coached has had to face something, right? His fear of a divorce or an addiction or a job loss or loneliness or lack of money or lack of success, or there's something that he has to come to grips with. And when he does, when he faces himself, when he stops and the noise is gone and he has an honest look at who he is, he comes out stronger, he comes out clearer, comes out more grounded. That's been my experience working with men. So here's something you might consider. Sit with your fear instead of avoiding it. Name it, write it down. Ask it, hey, what are you trying to teach me here? What are you trying to say to me? Just listen. Look at it. You won't die, I promise you. I've seen it way too many times. It's not as scary when you turn and face it rather than trying to avoid it or run away from it. Fear's not your enemy, right? It's just a signal that your system's saying, hey, something needs to be addressed here. Something needs to be looked at. And the difference between men who stay stuck and men who grow is one group doesn't face their fear and the other one does. And it's pretty simple. So if you want peace, if you want power, if you want confidence, all of that's on the other side of fear. So pick an area that you might be dealing with fear right now. Money, relationships, purpose, identity, health. And then take one step. Take one step today. It doesn't have to be a perfect step. Just move yourself forward. Move yourself forward to get to the other side of it. And hey, you don't have to do it alone. If you need help, if you need support, reach out. And reach out to someone like myself, a coach. Reach out to a trusted friend, but reach out, right? Because what's important is that you understand what's real, what's true, and reclaim your power and move forward in strength and clarity in your life. So I hope that helps. Some ideas to think about. It's crazy times right now. I get it. But remember, control isn't in uncertainty. It's in clarity. We can live in uncertain times. When we become clear about how we're going to live and what we're going to do and how the steps we're going to take, we develop that clarity, we gain control, we gain power. All right. I hope you're doing great. I'm Todd with Empowered Man Coaching. Take care. Ciao.